I am Dr. Paul Miller, and I am here with my lovely co host today.
Dr. Erica Johnson.
And so today we are here to do an episode of The Good Me and the Hood Me. And so The Good Me and the Hood Me is a book that was written, and it's a version of From the Gutter to Greatness. As you all already know, from the gutter to greatness.com. Go check it out. From the gutter to greatnessbooks.com. You name it, it's out there. It's all about moving from our gutters to our greatness. And what that means is it's about unclogging your gutter. So think about if you have a gutter on your house and it's clogged and there's a lot of debris in it. What typically happens is that it is creating a backup. That backup is going to damage your roof. It's going to damage your exterior. It's going to damage your interior. And so with all of that damage, you can't have a successful home. So what we have to do as people, but specifically men of color, is we have to unclog our gutters so that we can move into our greatness. But as I was thinking about it, man, what if we could help kids do it earlier? So Dr. Johnson is an expert with kids, and that's why she is here today. She is an expert with kids. She is a phenomenal educator. And you know what? I want to give her a few seconds to talk about what she does, who she is, and why you need to listen to her, because she is releasing her new book, From Sub to Soup, and y'all got to go get that too. Dr. Johnson, who are you and why are you even here?
Oh, who am I? So, first of all, thank you, Dr. Miller, for the honor and the privilege to sit next to you on this wonderful
Now, y'all know she's
today.
being facetious because she gives me crap all the time talking about the honor and the blessing. Child,
Hey,
please, go
we
ahead.
go way
I'll
way
take
back.
it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So, let's see, who am I? Dr. Erica Johnson, author. Now I am releasing my very first book entitled From Sub to Soup: The Journey of a Transformational Leader. And I talk about my transition from being a substitute teacher all the way to becoming a superintendent who had the honor and the privilege of supporting more than 25 schools throughout the state. And so on this journey over the last 26 years, I've messed up a lot, Dr. Miller. And
Not you.
oh yes.
Now you know she
It
don't
was
ever say
me. It was
she
me.
only
It was
says she
me.
messed up because she's on camera, y'all. But go
I
ahead.
messed up, you
Okay.
all. And but I also had some great successes. But most importantly, I've learned a lot of lessons. And so in the book, I talk about 7 key things that can help you transform any organization. I'm not telling you anything new, anything that you probably don't already know. But what I am doing is honing in on my experience and how these 7 attributes can truly transform an organization, whether it's a school, whether it's a small business, a nonprofit, it doesn't matter because those core principles remain the same.
See, but you're not giving yourself enough credit, because if they knew better, they would do better. So if they knew it, they'd be doing it, Dr. Johnson. So
Fair.
there's a reason why there's so many failing schools out there and there's so many unsuccessful schools, because people aren't doing it. Let's keep it real. We're trying to be nice and stuff. I get it, but there's a leadership often it starts at the top, and leadership is often the problem. And so what this book brings you is solutions from somebody who's actually done it and done it well in a successful way. So humble yourself and read the book. Go get it.
Gotta get it.
But as we're moving forward here with the good me and the hood me, Dr. Johnson, bringing you in because I know that you know kids. I know you understand. And so the basic premise of the good me and the hood me is that we all have a good angel and a bad angel on our shoulder. We all have those two voices that speak to us, and sometimes we choose the wrong voice, and sometimes we choose to listen to the wrong voice, and we make choices that all have consequences. But there's other times that we decide to listen to the good voice or the God voice, right? And when that God voice is speaking to us, when it speaks, the more we listen, the louder it starts to speak, because like faith is often like Wi-Fi. And so if you get closer to the signal, the better signal, the better speed you're going to have. And so that's the same thing with faith. So the more you listen, the more you turn the voice up, the more that you will be able to listen to the voice, and you will make the right choices so that you can be the person that you're meant to be. Because one bad decision, we know, that can change a kid's life. And so this is meant to change that for them and make sure that they have the ability and they understand what that is. And when they hear it, they listen to it. because they know it's there. See, if you knew better, you do better. So now if they hear it, they will do something with it. Have you ever had those voices? And was there a time that you ever chose not to listen to the good voice?
Absolutely, too many times. And like I said earlier, I've made several mistakes in my life, and I think that's part of living. And in fact, it's part of learning. So, yes, I've made some choices where I knew that that probably was not the best thing to do, but I did it anyway. And this is the thing, there's always a consequence to pay. And so I always say, listen, think about what the consequences may be for the choices that you make. And if you're comfortable with dealing with those consequences, then make that choice.
Now you know I'm about to put you on the spot.
I know you
because
always are.
because
You
y'all,
always
I'm about to tell this woman personal business, right?
See, here
And
we
so
go.
I'm about to get and nothing too juicy, y'all. But so
I'm
we
not
were having a
scared.
conversation, and part of the conversation was there's a mutual person that we work with, and there was a mutual person that we work with, and I believe I was working with the person first. Dr. Johnson started working with the person afterwards.
And you were
and
working, say that again.
I was working with the person first.
Okay.
So
Just want to put
right,
that out there.
and
Yeah.
so this has turned out to. There's been some learning experiences, some positive elements, but overall the experience has been a little costly, and it hasn't worked out the way we wanted it to. I think on either end exactly. And so I'm trying to be polite here, right? But at the same time, Dr. Johnson was stating that before I made the decision to work with this person, she said, "You know what? I forgot. And not to put her on the spot, but she didn't pray about it. She forgot to pray about it, and because of that, she acted in her own will instead of God's will, and so she made this decision based off of what she wanted instead of what God wanted, and it feels like." From our conversation, that it hasn't worked out exactly the way she would have liked it to work out, and similar to me, and so there's a lesson there because I believe we both had flashes or signs, or there was a little voice
The
that
red flag.
there was a voice that was speaking to us,
Absolutely.
and we chose not to listen to it.
Absolutely.
And because we chose not to listen to it, now we've been cost with whether it's been financial, whether it's been not reaching some of the likes that we have wanted to. There's been issues because we didn't listen to that voice. So that's what this story is about, y'all. The good me and the hood me. It's about listening to that voice, but in a way that kids could hear it through story. So I actually am going to read the story today because I want everybody to hear the story. I want the audio out there. I want everybody to hear the story. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. So it's called The Good Me and the Hood Me. So if you notice, you know, that's little Paulie there with the good angel and the bad angel on his shoulder.
Did you have a box top like that?
I did.
Okay.
I had a kid and play.
Okay.
You know, I thought I was cute too. I was cute. Now I got pictures showing.
We're gonna have to see the picture.
I was more than cute, girl. I pull them out. You have to watch your daughters around me because I thought I was doing it.
All
But
right.
all right, so Dr. Johnson hasn't bought it yet, but that's okay. So I'm going to read this, and I will even hold up the picture. So age 2, 3, 4, and 5, I was always glad to be alive. I was protected and thanked. I was allowed to be a kid without being made to think. I wasn't anything different, but young, black, and gifted. I was the good me. The good me, to be the good me, adults had to plant the right seeds, water me, put me in the sun, groom me to grow so I can be better than anyone and everyone I know. So that's my mother kind of growing me and putting seeds. And one of the things that I learned, Dr. Johnson, was even though as I'm going to talk about some of the trauma that happened and the trauma in the story, that there was still a foundation and there was still things that my mother had some good intentions and that she was working with me to try to groom me to grow. And there was some amazing pieces, even though, as you'll hear, there were some issues.
Absolutely. And I want to speak to
please.
that mother piece and what our parents do. So the point that your mother is literally watering that seed so that it will grow, right? As parents, we don't get a manual when our children are born. We do the very best that we can. And I truly believe that parents do the very best that they can because they love their children. No matter, they can be strung out on drugs. I know you kind of talk about that in your book, alcoholism, all the things, but parents still love their children.
Absolutely. And even parents, there's a parent who might be in the schools who might be a drug addict. They still, when the kids leave to go to school, they still say, be good. I love you. Have a good day. And they still are sending you the best thing that they have, which is their child.
They're not keeping the good ones at home.
Right. Around 6, 7, and 8, the good me wanted to grow. But unfortunately, I started to learn what other young men already know. I started to realize I didn't have a dad, and then recognize the poor role models I had. The role models did what society thought was cool, mistreating women, drugs, and all out acting the fool. I learned how to make the bad me strong. Before you knew it, that bad voice talked too long. So that's, the 70s, 80s. That's all the players there at the table. You see, they got the little bear. It looked like a little Beyonce in the back. I don't remember Beyonce being there, but
no, you weren't in Houston.
Okay, no, I wasn't. I was in New York. That bad voice gets louder and louder, but you convince yourself it's right. I was taught not to lose a fight. I was taught not to cry. I was taught that I had to be tough to stay alive. Often and always, I had to keep my feelings inside. And so as men, we often have to keep our feelings inside, and not to say that other folks don't, but as men, it's often unsafe to talk about your feelings. Like, you don't see a lot of men sitting down and like, this is how I feel today, and this is what I'm hurt about, because you don't want people to see you as weak, because if they see you as weak, you feel like they're going to take advantage of you, or it's going to put a target on your back. And so that becomes hard.
Women have that issue as well, particularly in the workplace. We don't want to be seen as weak, but we also can't be seen as too strong. So, it's a catch-22 for a woman, but especially a Black woman.
I agree. And it's very difficult being Black in America, and it's trying to navigate that. But that's what this book is about, is how do we figure out what it is, and how do we work to heal so that we have an easier time, even as a youth, right? So around age 9, 10, 11, and 12, I was trying to figure out what a man is supposed to be. Was that man me? Was it 1 through 5, glad to be alive? Or 6 through 8, when things got lonely because I started to get raised by the homies and the TV? Were they putting good things into me? So, this was a time in life when I really was raising myself. I was alone. My mother was depressed, locked herself in a room. My stepfather was addicted to drugs. And the only people I really had was that TV. I had my friends we all taught each other the wrong things. And then, I guess I think we had a cat, which I hate cats now. But
I think I had a cat around that
cats
age.
are nasty because they get on your counter and stuff like that. And y'all Black folks who got cats surprised me.
Don't hate on the cat lovers. I mean, I don't own a cat. I don't own a dog either, because that's just extra mouthpiece.
And I don't need either. But the cats, at least a dog, you can train them not to get on your furniture. A cat.
But cats are the cleanest animal that you can have.
So you want cat hair in your food?
They clean themselves. I don't want either.
If you could clean yourself, would you?
That's not part of this podcast today, Dr. Miller. That's not part of the podcast.
Okay, I'm back. I found football around the age of 9, 10, 11, and 12. I was riding my bike home alone. My parent wouldn't come get me because it was out of her way. I had a parent going through her own trauma. Just because she had trauma don't mean I don't love my mama. The older boy asked me to stop. I thought he just wanted to talk. So I rode across the street just so he and 9 others caught me with some heat. Yeah, I got beat. They took my bike. Now it was gone. What was I to do at 10 but to relive the pain over and over again? Now we're poor. I guess I wouldn't be riding a bike anymore. I had a choice, the good me or the bad me. What was I to do? The pain I felt made it easier to be bad, or was it because I didn't have a real dad? The dad I had did all the wrong things. They say kids learn by watching. I watched him do drugs, not coming home, abuse my mother, and left her alone. The things I saw and began to feel were so real enough to make me a man.
And I think we've had some alignment in our life as a youth, with seeing drugs in our home, seeing our fathers being abusive to our mothers. I ditto that. But for me, Dr. Miller, that other voice was this is what you do not want to do when you grow up.
Right.
It was, I'm grateful that I experienced that now in my adult life, because now that's an example of what not to do.
Absolutely. And I think for me, it was similar. It was like I didn't want to live like that, but there were times or elements where that bad voice spoke loudly, and you develop a case of the efforts, like where you say, you know what, I don't have anything to lose anyways. I'm a do this because that's what the bad voice is telling me to do, and it seems like it's the right thing, even though we know we don't want to go and live in that cycle or continue that. So I was told real men don't cry as I watched her weep inside. If you do, I'll give you something to cry about. You can't be soft. Men don't show weakness. I'm going to make you hold your emotions in. Never thought you would explode, erode, or will it be too much? Nah, just enough for the bad me to show he's tough. I will give you something to cry about. The bad me was developing mentally through all I learned and knew. I became physically strong and emotionally weak. I wasn't allowed to be tongue in cheek or to even shed a tear. I wasn't allowed to build a softer side of being a man. I wasn't allowed to be the good me like I was at birth when I was connected to the earth. Now I'm growing into a young man. Inside I'm good, but the other voice sang louder than it should. At 9, 10, 11, and 12, the bad me's voice thought it had to protect me from what it thought was good. When you grew up where I did, it wasn't as easy to be the good me as I thought it would.
I'm impressed about this rhyme scheme.
Thank
It's
you.
impressive.
13 through 17 became a blur, not letting anyone in. I was angry by now. The only people I had were my friends, showing me all the wrong things. We walked in each other's house, and the sisters' boyfriends were cooking the drugs, but showing us youngsters mad love. Babies raising babies who all learned the same thing, listened and learned from our own ideas and things. It was about who's tough. The song from Mobb Deep was the anthem. It led us all the way to the wrong stuff. Shook ones to all the killers and the $100 billers who got no feelings. That was the anthem then, y'all. And that was putting that into my spirit, because on top of everything that I was learning, that's what we replayed on my headphones. I'm a little Walkman because I had the tape. Or then maybe it's the CD player then, right? Being young black in the hood was about being tough, up to no good, getting money, and the girls made up a good world. We taught each other how to be a man from listening and learning with a fixed mind. Society seems to want us to be all one kind. I could never show emotion. I was taught girls were only good for one thing, instead of realizing the world is a lot bigger of a thing. We don't own our block or any real estate on it, but we'll kill if anyone disrespects us on it. So does anyone think this is a bad idea? I remember this. There was a movie called The Program, and The Program was a football movie. And so, which I don't recommend this, and I'm not glorifying it, but they had a scene that they actually cut out of the movie after they debuted the movie. I caught the movie on the debut, and the football players, when they were bored, they went and laid in the middle of the road to get excitement, right? Wow. And so we, for whatever realized, were influenced and did the same thing. Wow. And we thought that was going to, because they did it and was interesting and a adrenaline rush, that we should try that. That's got to be the dumbest goddamn thing I ever did. Or one of the dumbest things I've ever done.
Isn't that what kids
right?
do?
And that's what kids do, and that's some of that. Listening to that bad voice, right? And making that decision. Right. The bad me mindset affected who I was and almost who I could have been and should have been. Not knowing how to deal with my own hurt and pain, but wanting money and hood fame. I was ready to do it all, make money how I could, regardless of who it could, would, and did hurt. Was a long way from watching Bert and Ernie, knowing there was hope, to doing criminal things, even selling some white soap. So that was that voice thinking that the only way I could get out of this, Dr. Johnson, was to sell drugs. And doing what I saw around me and doing what I walked in houses to see. And let me try that. And I knew that wasn't God's plan, though. And so, but I had to hear that voice to tell me that it wasn't God's plan. And there's a whole stories about that of God distinctively told me he needed me to stop. Right. But age 18, 19, and 20 and 21, I was now the one. I was becoming a man with trauma from his mama, the neighborhood, not having a father. Good thing I never smoked marijuana. Everyone was doing it, but I never did. It helped me to keep my head on and to think clear. I didn't use it to mask the pain or to help fuel my emotions. My bad habit was kissing the girls and making them cry. The bad me was turning into not such a nice guy. Was it me or was it the hurt and pain? Who knows, but they all become one and the same.
May I ask a question?
Yes, don't kiss one, kiss them all. That was my motto, Dr. Johnson.
I want to talk about the marijuana, Dr.
Yes,
Miller.
ma'am.
So you're talking about the good you and the hood you. So I'm wondering, because it's obvious that you consider marijuana to be a bad thing and it was a negative connotation
Right.
during that time. So I'm wondering what made you decide not to indulge in that if you were constantly
The-
hearing the bad.
That was a good question. And so for the record, I believe marijuana doesn't have to necessarily always be bad. And I don't think people who use it are bad.
But
At that time, yes, and I still don't smoke and never have. But what I do think is my mother in my household, they smoked all the time and I was embarrassed about it. And so it was something that they kind of hid because it wasn't like as open as it is
Right.
now. And they did it and I didn't want to go places smell like, and it was just always, I was very embarrassed about it. So I always told myself I'm never going to do that.
There you go.
But then I also, what ended up happening was when I got about 16, one of my relatives, a cousin of mine, he had and I tell the story from the Good to the Greatness, he started smoking around 16 and it became dependent on it, even to this day where he wakes and bakes. You know, he does whatever he does, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, he smokes. And that became the way that his coping mechanism. And so what I was glad is that I didn't use that for my coping mechanism. That didn't become my vice. I have another friend who alcohol became his vice. And so he was always good looking dude, you know, like Cam would say, pause, right? It was like, and the ladies loved him, but he was awkward and didn't know how to act internally or socially with them. And then he started drinking and he became this really cool dude that knew how to interact and he got the ladies and it made him feel good. But then what ended up happening was he started drinking too much and depended too much on it to where he became ugly and it did just the opposite effect.
Wow.
And I heard to this day, which we don't talk often, but he still rides around with the cheap vodka in his car.
Wow.
So like it's still like his vice gave away.
Yeah.
But again, it's not healing.
So it's going back to having an example of what not to do.
And then working on healing from it. So if he would have healed, if the kids who are out there or the adults can get this book, get the Good Me and the Hood Me for the kids,
Yeah.
and they can start working on the healing, right? And the healing early because they all have the trauma. Sometimes you don't even realize their kids got trauma. And if they can start working on it now and start hearing that good voice sooner,
Yeah.
maybe they won't end up riding around with a bottle of vodka in their car or kissing all the girls and making them cry
Right.
because that's what they feel they need to do because they're lonely inside, right?
Yeah. And I think to your point, I think that was magnificent the way that you framed that because trauma, we don't often recognize certain things as trauma.
Right,
But you know, just being Black is traumatic
right.
in the United States of America. And so I think that we deal with more trauma than we even truly understand.
Absolutely.
And how do you heal from something that you don't even understand that it exists?
And that's why we need help and we got to be willing and open to it. But see, I knew I wanted out. I didn't want to live like how I grew up, always wanted more. Keep me on a path so greater could be in store. None of that was God's gift. God's gift was perseverance and the ability to be mentally tough. I always kept going, but being good wasn't enough. Figure out what's your gift, what your gift is, and use it so you don't lose it. God gave it to you and he can take it away. Choose to listen and develop it so it stays. Throughout the ages, the good me never left. God gave me a gift. We all have a gift from God. I was a good athlete, not great. Did well enough to help keep me straight. Focused on school, even though in the hood I was up to no good. There's so many good hoopers and ballers that could have and should have been, but they didn't choose the good voice. That's what's in. Your gift doesn't have to be music or sports. Mine was perseverance and the ability to conquer my own thoughts. Don't give up. Whatever you do, everything you need to be good is inside of you. God's given it to you. I was physically strong, mentally strong, but emotionally weak. I didn't have all three, which left a huge gap. Every time I did what the good me wanted, I would find the bad me pushing me 5 steps back. I love you Even if you don't feel loved, we need to love ourselves more than anything else. And that's what the good me is telling the bad me. Due to having 2 out of the 3, the good voice was strong enough to win in a lot of cases. I started to progress from 21 and on, started not to look back, learning to shut the bad voice off, except for a few cases and places. The missing piece of emotional maturity kept me from a lot. There was a lot I didn't learn because I needed love and the ability to heal. Even at a young age, I didn't know how to handle the hurt and rage. Becoming the better me was a journey that started late. I need you young boys and the girls to learn from my mistakes. Why wait too long? Hurt yourself and the people you love. You don't have to repeat the cycle. Stop letting the baby be your idol. Emotions are real and it's okay. Young boys can have feelings without having feelings about having feelings. I need love, but I had to find it in myself. It's okay to find it before you love anyone else. Emotions and feelings are a good thing. You're not weak. Being healthy and happy starts with the way you think. The more you listen, the stronger I will grow. Loving myself was better than anyone else. Loving myself makes me pick the good voice. I make the better choice. It's okay to be a man and cry. It's okay to be different and go against the grain. Push yourself to heal the emotional pain. Be physically tough and mentally strong. Don't discount what else could be wrong. Emotional intelligence is a real thing. Healing is healthy and healthy is wealthy. Your life will be filled with abundance if you decide the right side. The good me is the voice we have, regardless of the pain you've had. Turn it up each time it speaks. Turn the bad me off so you can become who you're meant to be and think how you're supposed to think. Ask for help and love yourself more. Once you get all 3, physical, mental, and emotional health, becoming one. Healthy is the word, but be willing to get help along the way. Therapy in our community can be a bad term. There's nothing wrong with getting heard. Figuring out who you are and meant to be is easier when you're willing to be a better me. You can't forget the last thing, which should be the first thing. It glimmers and shines better than any diamond ring. If you hold the last thing close, the bad me's voice can never do the most. To be happy and healthy spiritually needs to always come first. Being the good me and listening to the voice is God's way of always providing you the right choice. I never want to be bad again. God has too much in store for my life. So that is the good me and the hood me, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you for story time.
You know,
That was really good.
I read to you like you was like we was on the carpet
Yeah,
when you were on
everybody
like you
needs
one
a
of the
good story
kindergartners.
time. That's
You
right.
know, so when you hear about the good me and the hood me, and you know, how does that over the years you've dealt with a lot of kids,
I have.
you know, and how does that connect, and how do you think that has the ability to help change their trajectory?
So I think, to your point, kids deal with that all the time. I don't know that they're able to recognize it. And so that's when it's important for the adult to step in and have these kinds of conversations, bring these kinds of texts to our students, and then most importantly, to our home, to our parents, so that we can have conversations with children about the voices that they hear in their head. We need to acknowledge that, accept that, and help them to understand the difference between that good voice and that bad voice as well.
Thank you. Now, real quick, where can they find your information at?
Absolutely. All social media outlets. I am Dr. Erica Ericka Johnson. Dr. Erica Johnson on all social media outlets.
Thank you. And I am Dr. Paul Miller. So you can find me in a few spaces and places. So you can find me at drpmiller.com. So that's Dr. P. Miller .com. You can check me out there. And there's a link to almost everything on that site. But if you want to be real specific, we can go from the gutter to greatness. That's my IG. You can find me on Facebook at Dr. Paul Miller. You can find my books at From the Gutter to Greatness Books. You can go to the goodmeandthehoodme.com and find this book right here. What I want you to do is help train and transform your child's life. Help your child to make the decisions that they will need. Because you know what, honestly, even though I discussed the trauma in my life, my mother gave me a book when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old called The Good Me and the Great Me. And I formatted this book after that. And I remember that book for the rest of my life. And it always planted that seed that that good voice and that God voice was inside of me. And I'm hoping that this plants that seed for you and your child. So I want you to go check this book out. It's again, it's right now, I believe it's $18.99. You can go get it on Amazon. You can go to the Good Me and the hoodme.com to go get it. But this book will change and transform your child's life. This is something that will last a lifetime, that they will remember, and they will remember forever. They need this book. They need this because you know what? We all have choices, and as kids, a lot of times we need help making choices, and a story like this will help them make those choices. So we enjoyed being here with you all today. Go check out the Good Me and the hoodme.com and from the gutter to greatness.com as well.
Love that. For all leaders, I'm going to give my shameless plug from sub to soup.